Hi, I'm Michelle.
And I'm Dion. And we are two idiots on a bike. Two idiots, all right?
Yep. Or 4 legs for a little part of this one.
Yeah. Starting off with a bit of walk. Because of the Harris trip, so we were there sort of in the middle of January, the 9th to the 13th. And the 9th we travelled up. The 10th, the plan was to ride just the entire time,
Yes.
every day. But as you can see there, the roads were a little bit icy still.
They were.
Yeah. So we decided on this day, the first proper day we were there, to go for a walk instead. And it was lovely, wasn't it?
It was great. I mean, it would have been nice to see some of the beaches with the sun in the sky and the blue skies on the bike. But safety first, everybody. Safety first.
Absolutely. Some of the rocks you can see there are some of the oldest, or not some of the rocks you can see there are some of the oldest rocks in the world. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
They are over 3 billion years old.
How do they even know that?
Well, they do carbon dating and stuff, don't they?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So we went for this walk, didn't have hiking boots, walked in our bike boots, and we knew about it the next day, didn't we?
Well, for a few months I knew about it after that with the blisters.
Yeah. But yeah, you just couldn't help yourself throwing rocks onto the frozen water.
Straight away, no kids there, and still have to throw rocks to see if we can break that ice. And we didn't manage at all.
No, did not.
You definitely should have stood on it.
I think you should have joined me.
Yeah. But we will be biking very soon.
Yeah. So this was just walking on the way to Leverburgh. And Leverburgh at this point was about another 15 to 20 minutes away. And yes, the next day, day 3 of our trip. So this is where we started. So we're actually in Lingerbay at this point. And you can see the map there of the route that we took this day. So we went the entire length of Harris and Lewis. Oh, and you can see there we had a little bit of a
bit of a slip. It was nearly another walking day.
nearly another walking day, yeah. We walked ourselves to A&E, across the ferry and across the water, because I'm not sure there's A&E on Harris. I don't know.
There must be something.
Yeah. Wasn't this a Sunday though? Or was
I
it? No,
think
this was a Saturday.
A&E is like an all week.
Yeah, this was a Saturday because the following day was a Sunday. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, we went along the eastern road there. We went south on the eastern road there, and we're just on our way towards Rodel at the moment. Now, Lingerbay, where we've just come from, was actually we stayed right next to it. There's a site where they wanted a super quarry, and the locals resisted it for years and years, and they tried to get the quarry there. And then eventually they gave up, basically, and there wasn't a super quarry. So there was a little quarry
partially there, yeah. It was
quarry,
partially there when we went for the walk. We could see it quite a bit, but you couldn't get down there.
Yeah, but they wanted a much bigger quarry, and the locals just said, for years and years.
Until they eventually were stubborn enough to make sure that happened.
So that church we've just come past there is St. Clement's Church. So this is in Rodel. And this church was actually built in 1520 by the MacLeods of Harris. So this was, really one of the first buildings there. And
that's what a lot of Harris and Lewis is like, isn't it? It's churches.
Yeah.
A couple of houses and some sheep.
Yeah. And of course on a Sunday, nothing goes on. No. Absolutely nothing.
No.
It's dead. So the following day, the next day after this, we actually went for a ride, and it was quiet. Yeah. It was lovely though.
It was really nice, but even the toilets were closed then, weren't they? We'd only just figured out they were there on the Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to get the toilets again. Could not.
And the little place that we stayed was called Little Minch. So a little cabin that they'd named Little Minch, which I only found out on this trip was the little body of water.
Yeah. Yeah, so Minch is the body of water between Skye and Harris and Lewis. So we're going past Leverburgh here.
The bustling town.
The bustling town, the metropolitan area of Leverburgh. Now, Leverburgh has actually got a bit of a backstory because in the olden days, it was called Ob. I think I might pronounce it right, or maybe not. Obbe. And basically, the guy that bought it, so he bought Lewis, the Isle of Lewis, and much of Harris. And this was the guy who actually started Unilever. So first it was Lever Brothers and then Unilever, the massive company that we've got nowadays. But what he wanted to do with Ob was turn it into basically a fishing hub.
Right.
Like a fishing HQ.
Well, it's a good place for it.
Yeah, so so this was with herring fish or fishing at the time.
Right.
So he spent a load of money. He did loads of work. He upgraded the harbour. He built a fish processing factory. He improved the infrastructure, introduced loads of modern equipment and techniques. And then they named this little village Leverburgh in his honour.
Right.
And he had grand plans. Unfortunately, at this point when he was doing all of this, the herring industry was already in decline.
So why was it in decline?
Well, when last have you bought a herring?
I nearly bought you herring the other day by accident instead of sardines.
So the herring industry was in decline. There were some financial challenges and logistical challenges. And bearing in mind, he did all of this in the early 1920s. He died in 1925.
Oh.
So as soon as he died, everything came to an end. And the grand plans he had for Leverburgh, or for Ob at the time, never came to fruition.
That's such a shame to have gone that far. And as well, I mean, it would have been... I wonder if that's been, though, the catalyst of some of the infrastructure and some of the roads and things like that are still brilliant there.
Yeah.
So to think of it being an island where it's harder to get materials over and harder to do all that. The road surfaces there are much better than some of the roads, I'll not mention which, in the lakes. So the roads are much better. And to think we were in a cabin in the middle of nowhere where you could just see the sea and sheep and you could still get internet signal.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, they have to keep the roads in good condition because, like the road we're on here is the A859.
Yep.
And this is the main link, really, that goes up the western side of Harris. So everybody uses that road. I mean, we have got an eastern road as well, the Golden Road. But this one is far more, it's bigger and it's far more usable. So because it serves the entire island, they need to keep it in good condition.
But, I mean, we did say, both of us, while we were there, that, considering how icy the roads were and how snowy the roads, they did really keep the roads in good condition. So, there wasn't that much ice considering how much snow was still around on the roads. And that isn't the same in some places that are more heavily used.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, they do salt the roads a lot there.
Yeah.
And of course, salting the roads absolutely destroy it. But they are in quite good condition.
They were in good condition. It does make kind of riding round and going around the twists and the turns just that little bit easier and nicer.
Yeah, but if we were to go back now in the summer, without snow on the ground, ice on the ground, and we could just enjoy it with blue sky, how amazing would that be?
Yeah, it would be. You don't need to convince me anymore. You've already said.
However, look at that though. Just look at that. I wouldn't have changed that for the world.
No.
Being there in that moment was just perfect.
And it was the difference on your senses, certainly some parts of it where, it's unusual enough to see kind of in this country anyway, the white sand beaches and the crystal blue waters, but to see that in the freezing cold with snow elsewhere is just bizarre.
Yeah. It's like tropical beaches without the tropical. Without the tropics.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a little bit of the tropical, I have to say. You know, it would be nice not to be laid up like the Michelin Man, but it was still a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was. It was just amazing. Absolutely incredible. So we're on our way here now towards Tarbert. So we're still going up the western side of the south side of Harris, and yeah, we're gonna get to Tarbert pretty soon. Tarbert is the main town in Harris itself. So there is a bigger town on the entire island, but it's an Isle of Lewis, which is Stornoway.
I didn't know Tarbert was the biggest town in Harris. I mean, it would have to be, really. There's not much else going on.
Yeah. So they just at Harris now. Sorry, just at Tarbert now. So we had some breakfast, and yeah, I thought this was interesting. I didn't notice this until I watched the video back. So I just wanted to point this out. There's the tongue. And then the cute little eyes going up that way.
I mean, I knew I had a concentration tongue when I'm concentrating at work, but I didn't think I had to concentrate that much to get on and off the bike.
Yeah, so Tarbert, the locals actually have a joke there. They reckon that you're never more than 2 minutes away from the scenic photo op. Well, I think we've just proven it there.
Thanks.
But Tarbert also has the Isle of Harris distillery. Now, we didn't go into the distillery, but as soon as you come off the ferry, you straight away go past the distillery. Yeah. So you see it straight away.
I don't think gin and bike riding would probably mix, though.
No, I can't.
I think you need tonic with a gin rather than a motorbike, maybe.
Well, you definitely do need tonic with gin. You're right. But tonic with the bike, yes.
Unless your 7-year-old daughter makes you one for a nice bath, then sometimes it's straight gin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a different story.
No motorbike that day.
Yeah. So just turning off the A859, and we've gone along this road. It's about 12 miles or so, and we're coming up to Hushinish Beach here. Now, Hushinish Beach is just this beautiful little beach. It's way out of the way, very remote. And in the distance, you can see the island of Scarp. Now, what's really interesting is back in the day, no one lives in Scarp now, but back when there were some people in Scarp, they tried to deliver mail post via rocket. So rocket mail wasn't very successful. Wasn't very successful, I don't think, but yeah, isn't that interesting?
Is that where we looked at in the brochure, where it was saying that people lived on the island until and they wouldn't move at all, some of the older residents, but the conditions were just getting worse and worse?
No, was that Scarp or was that somewhere else? I feel like that was somewhere else, I can't remember. So we've got some of the pictures up. These pictures were taken along this road. So this is now just coming back on the road that we didn't show on the way, like I said, about 12 miles or so. This is the B887. Beautiful road. This was your favourite road of the day, really, wasn't it?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Both ways.
Yeah. So we are shortly going to go past the castle, which, not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Ammuinnsuidhe Castle. Ammuinnsuidhe. I'm going with Ammuinnsuidhe, which is still a working castle, working estate. And you go right past the front door of it. But the reason why we came along this road towards that beach in the first place is when we had breakfast in Tarbert,
yeah.
We the guy that made the breakfast, who owns the little cafe, he told us a story about some American tourists that had visited, and they said, "Oh, we want to see all the Scottish, highlights. They wanted to see a beach, and they wanted to see some eagles, and they wanted to see Highland cows, and they wanted to see a castle." And so he actually said, "Oh, well, if you go along this road, you might see all of those things. And so off the tourists went, and then later in the day they came back and they were like really excited and hugging him and like were over the moon. And they'd seen all 4 things. They'd seen the beach, they'd seen the castle, the eagle, and the Highland Kells as well.
In one 12-mile stretch of road.
In one 12-mile, yeah. Because
isn't that crazy?
That castle at Ammuinnsuidhe Castle, they actually have deer, golden eagles and everything at the castle.
Yeah. Well, we were lucky enough to see Highland cows along that road. We did see, I do think we did see some deer on there, but not a lot. Not the time I'm keep referring to every single video. And we did see the beach and the castle.
Yeah.
We didn't see an eagle.
I can't remember seeing the deer, but then that doesn't mean we didn't see them.
You may as well just go with it, because there's got to be some deer seen somewhere. But we weren't that lucky with blue skies as much on this day, except for the occasional time where the sun was really, really trying to peek through. So we got some partially blue sky.
But, well, I mean...
Just in time to see the mountains.
But some blue sky there. But the way the light was there just before it changed over was just like postcard perfect almost, wasn't it?
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. The whole thing was brilliant. And coming up and down this road, this is one of the reasons that we'll record some of the audio for videos after. I am usually singing at the top of my voice in my helmet, and I'm sure it was Whitney Houston a little bit down here, and I could not put anybody through that at all. So I normally have to be mic off.
Well, if we'd been recorded now, not just voice but actually video, you'd see me shudder at the thought of that.
So we do have the intercoms where we can talk to each other, but if there's a big song on coming down a road like this, I want my music on full blast. I want to be singing away, arms out. So I'll normally mic off DJ Michelle and not put anybody else through that torture. And luckily, the helmet stops me getting barred from places.
You mean like places like on the bike?
So just watching this back now coming down, and I'm right back there, music blasting, and just enjoying the spectacular views.
Yeah. It was just an incredible ride. I mean, it was a full day of riding, because we went from where we stayed in Lingerbay, we went down to the south, which wasn't that far, Leverburgh, and then we went right up to the top, the Port of Ness. Then we came back down, stopped off in Stornoway, and then we came back to Lingerbay, and it was dark obviously when we came back, so we didn't record the full ride with the dark and stuff, but we'd already recorded the road going the opposite direction there anyway.
Yeah, we'd already seen it, so we knew we were going to be coming back when it was dark, and we knew we didn't want to miss any of the sights, so we wanted to make sure we got all of the roads in that we wanted to see while it was still light, and then just head back on the same roads once it was turning dark, because there have been so many trips that we've done where we've maybe headed to somewhere and thought, right, well, we'll go during the night to get there and then make the most of wherever we are, and the amount of roads we have gone past and said, we really need to see this in the light.
Yeah, but because of the way how we did it, so we went up the western side all the way to Port of Ness, then we came back, and because we then went to Stornoway, we actually saw both sides of Lewis as well. But you can see the landscape slowly is changing from the mountainous Harris landscape that you get to the more sort of flat moorland type landscape that you get in Lewis. But we're still in Harris here though, so it's still a little bit more rugged and wild.
Yeah, it's it is quite an unusual day when there are points you get a little bit bored of the sights of Lewis but that is only because you have just been through Harris. Because Lewis itself is gorgeous. It's still really beautiful,
It's
really
magical.
scenic. It is.
It is magical.
But it's just not quite Harris.
Sorry, Lewis.
And I think it's just for, it's probably the way the snow was, the way we got the lighting. And I don't know if I would have felt the same if we didn't do that 12-mile stretch, actually, because that was my favourite part by far.
Well, I mean, Lewis doesn't have the Golden Road, though, does it?
It doesn't.
And it doesn't
the Golden
have
Road.
Sailorbost or Luskentyre or any of these places.
Yeah, I know, but I would actually still say, Lewis, you still one up on Uist.
Sorry, people from Uist.
I'm just seeing how many people I can offend in one video.
Yep. Oh, wait till we get to Stornoway.
All of those areas are lovely, and actually when we did Uist as well, that was a unique experience.
Yeah.
You know, with all the causeways and every one of them.
I did love that.
You did.
Yeah.
Every one of them is unique in its own way, but I think you've always still got something that's a little bit more special to you.
Yeah.
And I think Harris is definitely that for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I had to pick a favourite, like a favourite child, you know, the kind of thing that you might think but you don't say. Although, just for the record, I don't have a favourite child, but I know people who do. Mm-hmm. So,
Harris, what a bigger shovel there.
Harris is my favourite as well.
Yeah.
Between Harris, Lewis, North and South Uist. But in fairness, the causeways in Uist was something special, and I do want to go back there.
Yeah, that was another cold trip as well, actually, and quite windy as well. Not the time to do causeways, I have to say.
On a bike.
On a bike.
Yeah.
When you get a message saying that the ferry might not be on because of winds, and you think, right, well, I'm like about 15, 16 hours from home on a motorbike.
Yeah. But we were still on our way here up to the Port of Ness. So when we did get to the Port of Ness, we're not going to show it on the video, but when we got to the Port of Ness, we did have some lunch, and it was lovely, wasn't it? Food was nice. It
was really nice, and then you could just kind of see the landscape outside. It's all windows, the place that we stopped at for lunch. And I think everybody still speaks, or a lot of people still speak Gaelic.
Yeah. Oh, it's very much sort of the heartland, I think, of Gaelic-speaking communities there. Yeah. Certainly people speaking Gaelic in the little cafe we were.
Yeah. Actually, it does look really, really pretty watching it back here.
So we did go past, I didn't see it, but you did, the Hushinish stones as well in Lewis.
The mini Stonehenge.
Mini Stonehenge, which is actually older than Stonehenge.
Is it
It's been there for longer. Yep.
So do I actually know how that got there? Because they still wonder about Stonehenge, don't they?
Well, obviously it's aliens. Everybody knows that. I mean, duh.
How did they actually get there? Do they know that for this one?
I don't know. That's one to ChatGPT. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Yeah. Do they know about Stonehenge, how they got there now then?
They've got theories. Yeah, I think they've got theories. I mean, just YouTube it. Someone's probably recorded it on their phone. At the time.
And done audio after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, they're too busy listening to Whitney Houston.
Yeah, so
I did see them, but I think I did have to crane my neck, and they were a little bit far away. So I didn't see if they were any patch on Stonehenge or not.
Well, it's not as big as Stonehenge, I think.
Just older.
Older, yeah. It's like people. All people shrink as well. So maybe they were bigger back in the day when they were young and in their prime.
They were fully Stonehenge.
They were fully full-grown stones. Now they're all stones, so maybe they've shrunk with age.
I am not looking forward to shrinking in age.
So, yeah, we're not sure if I've mentioned now, but we are in Lewis here now. I think so. We went up to the Port of Ness, had some lunch, turned around, came back. We followed the same road back. And then at one point we split off because that's the road then you have to take towards the east to go to Stornoway.
Yeah.
I showed more of that road actually on here as well. But there was a point here where, quite right what you said earlier on, you just, because you've seen so much and that's been so magical and so incredible,
Yeah.
You just think,
We were spoiled.
we were spoiled.
Is the top and bottom of that, I think,
there's no
by
doubt
that point.
about it.
Because I think if we'd gone on any of these roads ordinarily and you went on these first,
Yeah.
so maybe that's the way to do it, people. Maybe do Lewis first, stay in Lewis, do Lewis first, and then go to Harris. And then you'll be wowed the whole day.
Yeah.
Because you'll be wowed at Lewis and then get to Harris and be wowed some more and finish off on a nice high.
Yeah. I know we're going to come to Stornoway, but what did you think of Stornoway? Let's see how many people you can offend.
I didn't mind Stornoway. I think it was nice seeing it because it was more getting to dusk
Yeah.
at that point as well. So the kind of sky had changed a little bit. There was a nice little, was it a pier or a little harbour?
Harbour.
A little harbour. And the lights were starting to come on. So it did have like a certain quaintness to it.
It had a nice little feel.
It did have a nice little feel. And I was very much looking forward to seeing some shops because we had no food in the little cabin. We only had snacks left.
Yeah.
So I was actually quite looking forward to seeing some shops and hoping to get some little Scottish delicacies
Yeah.
for dinner. I think we ended up with another ready meal
I think
or
so.
some pate.
It was, well, what was it we had?
Pate.
Was it pate? You sure? Okay.
And look, I always remember food. I don't remember a place that we are or what we saw there or what the stones were like.
That is true.
But I'll be able to tell you always what we had to eat or drink.
Yeah. Look at this road though, it's mostly just straight. I know there's like slight curves in the road, but for the most part, it's just straight. Just straight. This is the road that leads up to Stornoway. So this goes from west to east across Lewis. This is the, which road number is this? Is this the 857? I think it is. Yeah, I think it might be the 857. It is. And yeah, you just go and go and go and go and go.
Yeah, I think this one's the 857.
You think? Well, you can't remember places. You do remember food, but you do also remember what I've just said. So that's good.
Our roads, clearly. Yeah, it was straight for some time. And actually, it was starting to get nicer a little bit there as well because we were moving a little more.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you do have to watch out for all the traffic.
Oh, it's just bumper to bumper.
Yeah, absolutely rammed. Traffic everywhere.
Yeah.
That was one thing that changed when we got to Stornoway, though.
There was a bit more traffic in Stornoway, but obviously,
There were people.
There were definitely people. Yeah, but obviously, you know, it's the main hub, isn't it? It's the capital. It's the capital of Lewis.
The capital.
The capital. Yep, it is the capital. I've been really, really looking forward to seeing Stornoway because I had years and years ago, a couple of decades ago, I had friends from Stornoway, and since then I've just always wanted to go there, go and see what it was like.
Yeah.
and finally got the chance to go and see it for myself.
And did it live up to expectations?
Yeah, probably what I expected. Big for the area, but not a big place necessarily. So lots of importance in the area, but not a big place. But if you're from Stornoway, you're one of the city dwellers. Compared with the other locals. Pretty much. But yeah, it was lovely to see. It was genuinely lovely to see.
I can just imagine older people saying, "Oh, are you going to that Stornoway? Be careful going to that Stornoway." Like my grandma will still say to me now, "Oh, be careful on that A19. You're always on that A19." Yeah, I think that might well be the case.
Yeah, so I think we're just coming closer, sort of the outskirts of Stornoway now. Yeah, we're just starting to reach onto the outskirts, and it didn't take long actually after this point to get dark. I mean, the time of year it was middle of Jan.
Yeah,
So,
but it did just change quite quickly, didn't it? You blinked and it was kind of like light to dark.
Yeah.
But we were really, really lucky. As much as it was cold, it was January, and we did have that one day where we decided it was safer to walk. Outside of that, we didn't have rain, we didn't have more snow, it wasn't too windy.
Yeah.
So we were actually really quite lucky.
Yeah, well, you can see here in Stornoway there was more snow again.
Yeah, but it didn't snow anymore while we were there. It was just it was clearing up.
Yeah, no, it did. It was clearing up. But this was actually really nice coming into Stornoway with this sort of light, and again it was quite atmospheric, and it was just a perfect time to actually come into the place.
Oh, it was. That's what I was saying. It did have a little quaintness about it still.
Yeah.
With the lights coming on, it's starting to get dark.
Yeah, with a bit of light, between the clouds in the background, and
yeah. Not that I should call the main city cute, but that's what it was. Cute.
It was cute. Definitely quaint. Yeah, they've got the coloured buildings there. And because this is sped up, you didn't really see, but one of the kids was actually skipping across the road, if I remember correctly.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
I can't remember noticing that.
I'm sure one of the kids was skipping. I mean, someone might play this on slow speed and then go, well, there wasn't a kid skipping. I apologise if I remember a kid skipping. It might not have been one of those kids, actually. It might have been a different kid in a different country. It might have been when we went to Italy. Who knows?
Don't start that with the deer again. Sometimes some of these trips do blend into one.
Sometimes, but I'm pretty sure there was a skipping kid somewhere along the line.
Well, you've got some video, you can go and check it out.
Yeah.
Find out about that skipping child at the same time you're looking for my deer.
So we're just coming up to the end. We turned around just after this, and that's where we stopped the video as well. Just purely because it doesn't record too well at night time.
It doesn't. But that's it. That is Harris and Lewis.
In a day.
In a day.
Yeah. So thank you very much, and see you next time.
See you later.